This is a Dragon Blazer production, and I am the little boogeyman.
All right. Coming down the aisle, your podcast tag team champions of the world, Boomer and Blaze.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of the Boomer and Blaze Show. I am Boomer.
And I'm Blaze.
And here we are. It's our first online show here.
You can see me? No, you can't. Uh-oh. Where'd Boomer go?
Here I am. I don't know. It made me reconnect. I don't know. So
I couldn't see you.
I'm seeing all of a sudden. Nice. All right. So we may have a few bumps in the road this week, but it'll be okay, right? We're gonna make it through it. We're gonna figure it out.
Works. Yeah, absolutely.
We're here, and that's what matters, right? That's the important thing. So let's start off on a sad note that just broke this morning, and I'm sure you saw it, but Jerry Springer passed away. Wow, so I got to ask, I know when I was young, I used to watch it. I get it. It was kind of a garbage show, but did you ever watch Jerry? Come on, didn't everybody?
I watched way more than I should have.
Me too.
I watched it with my mom's ex-boyfriend when I was a kid. Loved Jerry Springer. It's such a trash show.
It was, but it's definitely a part of American culture. And hey, Jerry, we gotta love Jerry.
With my man. Oh,
look, the best one was
my daughter.
I thought the best ones were always when they've been with a girl for a year and a half and they never had sex, and then they find out it's a dude and they had no idea. That was always. I swear I didn't know he was a man, Jerry. They're Adam's apples way out here, Hey, Jerry was a Cincinnati guy, so Jerry was a Cincinnati guy, so
mayor of Cincinnati.
And a mayor, yeah. And there's a little wrestling connection. There may have been other people, but I clearly remember Razor Ramon was on the Jerry Springer show one time. Full gear. It's a pretty famous clip.
I'd be surprised if Jerry didn't have a lot of wrestlers on there.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he was on a Monday Night Raw. Not sure if he's in the Hall of Fame, but I'm pretty sure he made some appearances.
I don't know about Hall of Fame, but he was definitely in wrestling.
I
remember that.
At least for our generation, it was definitely a big part of culture. It definitely changed daytime television, that's for sure. In the world now,
I would say you could definitely say that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely a big. So rest in peace, Jerry, and our thoughts and prayers go out to his family. 79 years old, I believe, is what I read. So he was up there.
Yeah,
that's because we're getting old too. Because we are getting old too.
I don't like
so
negative attitude.
And eventually.
Since this was our first time being on video, I had to go with the Balor Club shirt.
You do have a Balor Club, and here I'm wearing the Joker, but that's okay. I just have a Joker.
Nothing wrong with some Joker. I'm surprised. No. I thought you'd break out one of those great wrestling shirts because you have way more than I do.
I do, yeah. I didn't.
I have a Rousey shirt and a Balor Club shirt. And
I didn't break it out this week, but
I can't wear it anymore.
Right. Well, I'm still unpacking and such, so next week we'll get to that. Maybe I'll have some of my nerd stuff out I can show off, So we can do that next week. I'll be a little more prepared. I don't actually have a lot of non-wrestling stuff to discuss unless you have something you want to bring up other than Jerry passing away.
Oh no, that was a sad state of affairs. No, nothing comes to mind as of right now.
Okay. All right. Well, we will talk about. It was pretty big news, but let's talk about much to do about nothing. CM Punk was indeed backstage at Raw, but everybody wants to blow it into something it's not. All that happened is Punk happened to be in Florida. He was coming back to Chicago, and when he got on the flight, some of the boys were on the flight, and he found out Raw was there, so he's like, why not pop in? So this isn't Punk was trying to return or anything like that. He just popped in. He talked to, yes, he talked to Triple H. And as soon as Vince found out he was in the building, he asked him to leave. So so it's not like Punk was trying to renegotiate a contract or
So
anything like
is
that.
Punk and Triple H like coolish?
Are they what?
Like, are they coolish?
Yeah, I
Like,
think that Punk was trying to mend some fences a little bit. He actually asked Triple H if he could talk to him. He asked him if he had 2 minutes, and Triple H went ahead and talked to him. So I think he was trying to bury the hatchet a little bit.
so they're not necessarily friends, but he was
He was
trying
just
to.
trying to he was just trying to say, hey, we were both wrong, but maybe I mishandled things.
Maybe Punk
Maybe
is in dick rehab.
well, maybe this is part of his. Maybe he has to make amends so he can come back to AEW. Maybe he's trying to make himself look a little better because a lot of us fans don't even want him back.
Right.
So
Well, I'm just saying, I know he's straight edge, so he's not going to Alcohol Anonymous or anything. But
right,
maybe this is rehab for being a dick. This sounds like
being a dick, yes,
the 12-step program. You're
yes,
starting to apologize for your dick
yeah, I get it.
transgressions. Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of recovering from being an addict, I'm recovering from being an asshole. It makes sense, yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, I think he has to, so we can say what we want. I'm not saying, look, if it ever, we're all realistic. If Triple H ever said, "Hey, do you want to come back?" Of course he would. Of course Punk would go back, and of course he would make money. But just so we're clear, that's not what happened this past Monday. It was just Punk thought, "Hey, why not? They're in my hometown. Why not stop by, see some people, say some
Yeah.
hellos, see who hates
It'd
me?"
be,
You know?
it would be nice to be a fly on the wall for that
Yeah.
conversation.
Like I would love to know how that conversation went down. I would love to hear what exactly was
Absolutely.
said.
I am very curious how that conversation went down.
I think Triple H is like, dude, you have so much pull in AEW, they're going to make a separate show just
Yeah.
just so they can bring you back. Like that's some pull. I mean, that's
Yeah.
still
It's
what
gonna
we're
be
hearing.
a
It's
show with only wrestlers that are cool with Punk.
that are okay with you, and then we're
All
going to put
5 of them.
everybody. Yeah,
It's gonna be the
from
smallest
everything I've.
roster ever.
Yeah, it's all the guys that are on Dark all the time, the ones that never wrestle on TV.
Yeah, we have.
Like you guys get
Yeah. Well, wait. We have a chance to be on television if we just say we're okay with Punk. Yeah,
right,
Punk's
right.
great.
Punk's fabulous. We'll do that.
I love that
No
son of
problem.
a bitch.
If it's going to get me TV time, then heck yeah, I'll take it. I mean, we'll see what happens.
I hate the
It,
elite too.
I hope this Jericho is a big X factor in this. Apparently, Tony Khan is making sure that Jericho is okay with this Punk thing. Um, Another rumors about one of your favorite wrestlers, Mr. Goldberg, and I don't see this happening, but there is some talks. There has to be talks because his contract is up with WWE. He is no longer under contract with WWE, and Goldberg feels like he is owed a retirement match. He feels like his they didn't keep their promise because he apparently agreed to take the fall to Roman as long as he got to come back and do a retirement match. So there is some rumors about whether he'll show up in AEW, but I don't think Tony Khan's going to pay that kind of money to Goldberg. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just is he really going to pay Goldberg $3 million for a match?
I don't
Eh,
know.
I don't know. I don't know.
I hope
But there's
not.
some rumblings that could happen. They have the Wembley show coming up. So what if you brought Goldberg in for a match at that show? I mean, it might help sell tickets. I know how much you love Goldberg.
I was about to put up a video or a picture that shows how much I love Goldberg. If I can
Oh yeah.
find
Do you
it.
know? I know you don't watch a lot of AEW, but are you familiar with Wardlow in
Yeah,
AEW?
I like Wardlow. He was part of
The
MJF's
Pinnacle.
entourage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
He
and then
he
he quit
just
wrestling.
returned. Yeah.
Oh,
He just came back. He
I
won
just
the
didn't know he was gone. But
yeah. Well, he was gone for a second. He just came back and he got the TNT championship back and he actually has Arn as his manager now. Arn Anderson is his manager now. But Wardlow said he'd like a piece of Goldberg. He called Goldberg out, so it'll be
in,
interesting to see if
in fairness, Like, I don't give a shit about Goldberg, but especially a lot of these younger guys that probably grew up watching him, he would be someone you'd be like, yeah, I'd love to have a match. That's a dream match for me
Yeah.
to have a
And I
match
mean,
with.
if it was done right, it could work. And the fact is, Goldberg does sell tickets. And I think if he did show up in AEW, that would be just as big as when Punk showed up, if not bigger. It doesn't matter what we think about him. He's still a huge star, you know.
Yeah,
Goldberg, I mean, back in the day, I didn't hate him. I kind of got into the character too until he had to wrestle longer matches. Once he stopped having the squash matches and he actually had to do something, then you were like, oh,
once
oh.
once you realize that he sucks.
Yeah, he was all just show and flash, and that's why he was squashing everybody, and it worked until actually one of his most famous matches is when he had to fight Lord Steven Regal on a Nitro, and they told Regal they wanted Goldberg to have a 10-minute match. If you've never seen it, maybe we'll share it on my page because it's one of the worst matches. Like Regal's trying to wrestle Goldberg, and can tell Goldberg has no idea what the hell he's doing. Like he tries to do an arm bar, and it looks horrible. He tries to like flip Regal. It's just so sloppy. It's one of the worst matches Goldberg ever had. Go wrestle Goldberg. It'll be fine.
I
I'm sure you can do
I
it.
think I think every match is a worst match that Goldberg's ever had. Anyways, that's how I feel about Goldberg.
Hey, and that's not all on him. Like I don't think that's what you wanted to show.
That's what I wanted to show. Is it not showing it?
No, you're showing what you showed me earlier. You're showing the messenger between me and you, and a
All right,
picture of Jerry.
I'm still learning this shit. Okay.
At least you didn't put any of your inappropriate pictures up, so we're okay.
That'll be
Don't
later
get in the wrong photo album. Cut that. Cut that
for the ladies.
for the ladies.
There
There
we
we go.
go.
There it is.
I couldn't figure out how to just get the picture to go.
Right. See, we're still learning with this video, but we're gonna get there. But yeah, there's what he thinks of Goldberg. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit
Beautiful,
bigger.
beautiful piece of
Wait. Let's see if we can do. Nope, not. Well, it's a learning process.
That's right.
But
We're still
fuck Goldberg. I've got
yeah,
that there.
yep. We do. We do. We're still learning. That's the whole thing,
And we're back. And
It's
we're back.
fine. They're gonna start seeing more graphics, and I'll start showing off some nerd stuff here in a few weeks. It's gonna be great. We're gonna get used to it. It's gonna be fine.
Well, I
So
just
yeah,
found
that's
out
really all
this
the
is even possible, and I use this with my son.
right.
I didn't even know that I could do all this stuff.
Before we started recording, he was like a kid at Christmas. He's like, "Oh, look, I have tools. I have tools. I can make cool stuff. I can't
Hell
wait.
yeah.
We're gonna get to that." So let's talk about the talk of the week in wrestling has been the introduction of the new World Heavyweight title. You saw the pick, right? What do you think of the new world title?
You know what? I like it. I liked it a
It's
lot.
way
I think
better,
it's way better. Um,
way better. It's a throwback to Big Gold, throwback to the
Absolutely.
old.
It was a good one. I liked it a
What I
lot.
didn't expect, and I don't know if you got to see it, but what I didn't expect was when Triple H introduced it, he was kind of burying Roman, which I didn't really expect for him to do.
Oh yeah.
And now, yeah, and now you got a lot of people calling this a consolation prize, but it's not. Like they're just going back to the old school. They're going to do a hard, real brand split. They're going to do a real draft, and on one show you're going to have the Universal Champion, and on the other show you're going to have the World Heavyweight Champion. He's still playing.
So
Yeah,
did that work? Yeah, there we go. I figured it out.
there we go. That's what he thinks of Goldberg, right there,
All right.
right
Well,
there.
now we'll take that off once I figure that out. Okay.
So yeah, but I mean, on Raw, Triple H was like, yes, Roman's been a dominant champion, but he's worked himself into a contract where he doesn't have to wrestle all the time, and you fans deserve a champion that you will acknowledge willingly and not one that demands to be acknowledged. And so it was kind of like, yeah. So you got all these experts saying, well, this is just a consolation prize. No, it's not. It's a separate championship. I assume they're going to take Roman down to one belt instead of carrying the two, and that's going to be the WWE Undisputed Universal title. And then we're going to have the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And I'm okay with it. We should have done it. Look, Vince is the one that put Triple H in this mess. He didn't know any other way to get out of it. So he's like, you know what? We're just going to introduce a new title. What's wrong with that?
Which
and at least he's going to make somebody.
They announced that. They didn't announce that already, that Roman's keeping the Universal and this is going to be for someone else? I heard
Yeah,
that.
Triple H announced all. He made that all clear on Raw. It's just you got some people are saying stuff like, well, they made this because no one could beat Roman, and it's just a consolation prize, and so they're saying it's going to be less than just because they introduced a new belt. I don't agree with that. We're just going old school. By the way, back in the day when they brought Big Gold in the first time originally, Eric Bischoff brought it in, and he literally handed it to Triple H. Like they didn't even have a match to determine who the World Heavyweight Champion was. Bischoff was just like, World Heavyweight title, the game gets it. So at least this time we're going to have a match for the belt.
To play devil's advocate a little bit, I do think that they should have maybe had Roman like defend both titles and lose one of them
at Night of Champions and lose one of them, but
that does take away his streak of not losing. So this is probably the better way if you want to keep that streak going. But
yeah. And I'm interested to see who will be fighting for the championship. I personally think, I don't think Cody, I think Cody's going to keep going after Roman. I think that story's going to keep going. So in my opinion, Seth Rollins needs to be involved. Seth should get a shot at that championship. That's my opinion. Yeah. Lately, Seth's been kind of...
Curious what they're going to do. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you know the Backlash card yet, but now Seth Rollins gets a match against Omos. For no reason. That's his opponent at Backlash.
Haven't we given up on Omos yet?
Yeah, and like, what are you doing? So are you telling me like Omos better not go over on Rollins? That's all I'm saying. Like you just lost to Brock at WrestleMania, and yeah, you looked like you were tough, but come on. I just feel like Seth's getting kind of shafted lately. I mean, he's one of your top performers, in my opinion. And the only person Roman hasn't beat. Roman did not pin Seth Rollins. I know I brought this up last week, but I'm just being the advocate for Seth here. Roman did not pin Seth. So Seth should be one of the top guys on the card. But yeah, he gets Omos. He gets Omos at Backlash. So, and we touched on it briefly also.
Omos just faced Brock Lesnar,
so
it's not that big of a knock on Seth, I would say. If you look at it
it's not.
Way.
Yeah. I think that Seth sent out a few tweets and stuff, and I think his biggest issue is there's just no story. There's no storyline to it. It's just like, we want you to wrestle a Backlash show. We're going to give you Omos. I think that's more Seth's thing. Seth likes the part of wrestling that we love, the theater part, the story part. He just wants there to be a substance. At least with Logan Paul, there was substance. Logan Paul interfered in his match. He kept attacking him. There was a story there. Here, there's no story. It's just you're facing Omos. So that's Seth's big issue. I don't think it's personally against Omos. Seth's just more about why. Why am I facing him? What reason?
That's fair, and I respect him.
And that's fair.
A lot for that.
Yeah.
I would say that there's other wrestlers that don't have a story or a match at Backlash. So
touche. So at least you're on the card.
The fact that they're like, well, we know you don't have a story,
but we want you on this card.
On that card because you're Seth freaking Rollins. So.
Exactly. Yeah, and there's no Roman on the card. So the main event, of course.
Diminish what Seth wants. I agree wholeheartedly. I'm just saying.
Yeah. That was actually
that you're still a draw. You're obviously a draw. That they just threw you in a match so you had one.
It just kind of reminds me that's where things went sour back in the day with Stone Cold. Like all you ever hear is he walked out when they wanted him to face Brock Lesnar on Raw in a King of the Ring qualifier match. That's when he walked out. But Austin's point was, we haven't built it up, we haven't made a story, and you're leaving money on the table. You know what I mean? It was an unadvertised match. They just wanted him to go out and lose to Brock in a King of the Ring qualifier on Raw. Austin didn't care about doing a job, but Austin's point was, there's no story and you're going to give this away. That's not what we... so I got that too. I mean, Austin now says he shouldn't have walked out like that, but when guys get on top and when guys become big, they want their character treated right. I don't think it's going to hurt Seth at all. So, and at least he's on the card, like you said. I mean, come on. And it's going to be a huge event. They haven't been in Puerto Rico in a long time, so it's going to be a huge event. And Seth is pretty much on every pay-per-view. So I look at it like you do too. I know you're not the champion, but you're on every card because you're Seth freaking Rollins. You know. So we'll see. The champ's gonna be crowned. You don't watch these Saudi events, but they're crowning the new champion at Night of Champions. So the new world
I
heavyweight
know.
champion will
I
be,
heard,
yeah.
and I
And
love Night of Champions. So
yeah, we'll see what
this
happens.
isn't the crown jewel. I haven't watched the crown jewel, so
Yeah,
maybe I'll
but it is
watch this
still
one
in
because
Saudi.
this is one of the main pay-per-views. So we've
Yeah,
been doing. It's been a
we'll
year
see what
they've been doing
happens.
Night of Champions. I like this pay-per-view because you
Yeah,
have every
me too.
match being a title match. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
Uh,
another explanation of throwing Rollins with Omos because he won't be at Night of Champions unless he's fighting for a title.
exactly, exactly. Which I think he will be there. They haven't announced yet how they're going to crown the new champ. I assume they'll have the draft before Night of Champions, so that way you know which title is going where
Probably
and who will
which
be.
one's
So
because Roman's keeping the SmackDown, right? So it's
Roman,
whoever's going.
wherever Roman goes, yeah, that's where he'll stay. So now the other Backlash matches, I messed up on one of them. They are not doing the tag team title rematch at Backlash. They're actually doing that on SmackDown this week, I believe. Backlash is going to be a six-man tag. It's the Usos and Solo against Owens, uh, Sami Zayn, and Riddle because
I saw
Riddle's
that.
back. Yeah, so and then
Yeah.
they are doing the world title match, the women's title match between Selena and Rhea. And Selena actually brought up the fact she was from Puerto Rico herself. That's how she got the match. She went to Adam Pearce and said, I feel as the only Puerto Rican female on this roster that I'm the one that should go to Backlash and fight for the championship in front of my people, in front of my family. So I'm okay with it now. Like they played off that. I had said something about, oh, you're just going to give it to her because she's from Puerto Rico, but it makes sense now. And she just came out and said, like, I need to do this for my people.
That's fair.
So at least they acknowledged it. Yeah. So I'm okay with that. Bianca's defended her title too, and I can't remember against who. I'm gonna have to pull it up to see. I don't even think this tells me, but she does have a championship match. I just can't remember who Bianca's facing. Austin Theory's defending his title in a triple threat against Bronson Reed and Bobby Lashley. So we got a triple threat for the U.S. title at Backlash.
Or
But this is not
Austin.
showing. I'm pretty sure
Triple
Bianca's
threat.
defended her title too. But yeah, triple threat match. Have you seen Bronson Reed? I don't really have an opinion on him yet.
He's a
I've
big
seen a little
dude,
bit of
isn't
him,
he?
but he's big.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So he's going to be facing giant ass Bronson Reed and
and Bobby,
big ass Bobby
Bobby
Lashley.
Lash.
Like
Yeah,
and little ass Austin Theory.
Austin Theory. Yep, I'm sure he'll figure out a way.
I got a theory he might lose.
Yeah, kind of theory. Yeah, this is more of a possibility. Now, this is one you can actually believe one of these two guys might walk away with the U.S. title, unlike Cena, which I thought there was a small chance, but there's definitely more of a chance here. But you never know. It seems like I didn't think about this a lot until the other day. They're really going with these long title reigns right now. I mean, you got Gunther's about to pass the Honky Tonk Man. Bianca's got to be up there. I would have to look it up, but Bianca's been the champ for a
Yeah.
while now too. Rhea's newly crowned, and so's Kevin and Sammy.
Well,
But even Austin Theory's had the title for a while.
didn't
I mean,
Bianca win it at last year's WrestleMania?
I'm pretty sure
So
she's had it since last
so
year. Yeah,
she's had it a little over a year then. I think she
yeah,
won it at last year's WrestleMania.
yeah. I believe so. And now I'm trying to look up. So yeah, they're definitely going with these longer title reigns these days. Austin Theory's on 150 days as U.S. champ.
Oh wow.
So yeah, they're really going with these longer title reigns now. That's for sure. So
Which
anyway,
I
yes,
don't
I'm a
have a
fan of the.
problem with.
You what?
So which I don't have a problem with. The
No,
longer reign.
no,
Yeah.
I don't either. As long as it's done right. Like remember early on when I was still a Roman hater before I acknowledged him, I was kind of like, "Ah, I'm not feeling this. I'm not feeling this. I'm not feeling this. but they've done it well enough that the longer it goes, I'm okay with it. And yeah, I know Solo helped him win at WrestleMania, but that's the point, people. Like, this is true heel 101. These are people that didn't grow up watching Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, because back in the day, Ric Flair won any way he could. And yeah, the Horsemen were always involved pretty much every time. It's old school wrestling. I think that's where the Pinnacle failed. You brought the Pinnacle up earlier, and they never really felt like a true group. They kind of threw them together, and they were supposed to be like the New Horsemen, but it never quite worked that way. Like you'd see MJF in trouble, and the Pinnacle wouldn't come out and save him. Like that's a heel faction should have each other's backs. And yeah, Roman cheats to win. That's why we hate him. We're supposed to hate him.
Until they turn on each other's backs.
Right, which I'm still waiting for that story to come out too. Something's going to happen with the Usos. Something's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to break up themselves or if it's just going to be one of them turn on the bloodline, but I'm waiting for that. They keep teasing that for sure.
I feel like
Just like I told you when Paul
I
Heyman
feel
said,
like
"I'm Roman's tired of you two," and he was actually looking at the Usos, but they thought he was talking to Sammy and Kevin, but he was totally looking at the Usos when he said the tribal chief is getting tired of you too. So they're planting the seeds, that's for sure.
I almost think they should do it where um, Roman looks at Solo and it's like take him out, and he just attacks
Yeah,
them both or something.
yeah. I definitely think that's what it has to be. There has to be a crumble in the bloodline, and that's what causes Roman to finally lose his championship. Once he doesn't have the bloodline there to save his back. So we'll
Do
see.
you
I still
see
think it might happen at SummerSlam, so we'll see.
Do you see any scenario where either Jimmy or Jay turns on the other and they actually split up the Usos?
I Yeah, I mean, I Jimmy and Jay have been such a big part of this, and yeah, I think one of them turning, and one of them being the cause would be, but Solo's still like the X Factor. You can't really read him. You know what I mean? Like he's that silent assassin, and
Right.
so yeah, it's just been such a great story, and there's so many ways it
I
could end. But
I could see an interesting storyline where Roman talks to probably Jimmy and is like, "I'm okay with you staying in here, but to stay, you have to take out your brother."
yeah, yeah,
And then we
because
get like a
you still have Sammy talking to. I don't want to get it backwards. Is it Jimmy he's talking to all the time or Jay? Sammy's still talking
I
to one of them
don't
back. I'm getting it
right,
backwards now. I think it's Jimmy he talks to
right.
all the time, but it
I
happened
thought
again
it
on
was Jay.
SmackDown. Is it Jay?
Okay,
Okay, yeah,
I
I'm
thought
trying
it
to
was
keep it
Jay.
straight.
I could be wrong. I
Me too,
could
but
see him
anyway,
doing them.
even
But
last
yeah,
week on SmackDown he did it again.
but he could
He,
do it.
he
He
stopped
could
him
be
again.
a.
So
I think he's ready for him to get a huge face push. I would love to see if it's Jay, but Jimmy
it's
could
it's one of
start
them.
Jimmy could start tagging with Solo and stay in the bloodline, and they don't actually break up the whole bloodline.
The whole bloodline.
But
Yeah, I don't think it'll be the whole bloodline. I think it's just takes one. Just
I
takes
think
one. Somebody's gonna end this. Just takes one, and it'll probably
right,
be a new so.
but I think it would be kind of cool. I mean, that would be hell of a storyline if brother turns on brother for the bloodline.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. And
That'd be
everybody,
very
Vince always
interesting.
used to say, no one ever wants to see brothers fight, and that's wrong. Everybody loves to see family fight.
Everybody, yeah,
Vince is totally
absolutely.
wrong. Like one of the biggest things that happened in the NWO was when Scott Steiner turned on Rick and became an NWO member, and everybody wanted to see the match. Everybody. And then when the
Yeah.
Hardys fought each other, everybody wants to
Oh,
see this.
absolutely.
So Vince doesn't. Vince is out of touch. We don't have to worry about that.
Well,
All right. Well. I don't really have a lot of more wrestling to discuss because we have something else going on this week. The video game review's back, baby.
yeah. Woo,
Woo!
woo,
And we got a big
woo.
one. Well, I mean, it was a big one at the time. We were both talking when we were watching the video, like, but at the time it was a big one. So, should we do? Well,
Right.
should I do the chic tweet before we video game review? How about that?
Yeah, that works.
Yep. So let's do the chic tweet of the week. And I do have a runner-up this week just because, we love these little. So the runner-up is if at first you don't succeed, go fuck yourself. That's the runner-up.
That, that's the
That's his
spirit,
logic, right? That's the spirit.
right?
But the Sheik's tweet of the week this week was actually inspired by a band named the Eagles, right? Because here's his tweet of the week. Desperado, why don't you come to your senses, you dumb son of a bitch?
You dumb son of a bitch. Love
So
it.
there you go.
Love
That's our
it.
Sheik tweet of the week. Makes sense to me, right? It's logical.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That
All
is
right.
logic.
The Sheik is a national treasure. We all know this.
He
We all
is.
know this. All right. Let me pull up my notes. Things are a little different, so you got to bear with us, guys, but it's fine. I swear we know what we're doing.
we're figuring it out.
We're figuring it out as we
So
go, yeah. This is new to us. We're just figuring it out. It's fine. Somewhere. Here we go. All right. All right. So now we are ready for our video game review. And this week it's WCW versus NWO World Tour for the Nintendo 64. Yeah. This is definitely a point we can all remember video games
oh
changing.
my gosh. Now I believe that I remember, you know, this isn't the one I remember. I believe it's
The
the
Revenge, I
Revenge
said the
that I
same. Yeah.
remember.
I believe so
But
too.
I do remember playing this as well,
Me too. I do too. And this is probably the first game I remember playing on 64. Uh,
though. Probably.
and the one thing that was funny when we were watching the videos was you could definitely tell that they did not put a lot into finishers because a lot of people have similar finishers,
Probably
very
the
similar finishers. But
best one was Diamond Dallas Page. We did get the Diamond Cutter there.
yeah, and then
Uh,
one of Ric Flair's specials was his forward falling
his
down.
Yeah, whoa, 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 and then tricking. So Ric
Yes,
Flair had a good one, and then there was a bunch of wrestlers on here that I don't remember. I
oh
think I
well,
mostly remember. I remember using the mask guys a lot, and I think before I even know who the hell Rey Mysterio was, because at the time
right,
I was playing this, I really didn't watch WCW, so I didn't know half these guys.
right. Well, I will because it's not a real huge roster, so I will actually just run it down the roster real quick of who was on there. On the WCW roster, you had Lex Luger, Sting, the Giant, Scott Steiner, Rick Steiner, Ric Flair, Ultimo Dragon, who is one of the masked men on the game there, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio Jr., Chris Benoit, Steven Regal, and then Diamond Dallas Page, who is actually a hidden character that you had to unlock. And then on the NWO side, you had Hollywood Hogan, you had NWO Sting, Buff Bagwell, Eric Bischoff, Scott Norton, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Six, and then Macho Man Randy Savage, who was also a hidden character that you had to unlock. So there you go. Da-da-da. Pulling up some of these so we can see what kind of. But I do remember playing this one. But I think along with you, I think Revenge must have been the one I remember more because this one was vaguely familiar to me, but it's definitely not the one that I truly remember. Um, so you had singles matches, tag team matches, handicap matches, and you also had a battle royal. Um, and it had one feature that they did not put in the other ones later on, but this game actually also had a mode called WCW versus NWO Tournament. It was a round robin tournament, similar to the Japanese games that we've kind of reviewed in the past. So that was also on there. And then we have a list of the weapons that you could use. We had a steel chair, a wood table, a baseball bat, a barbed wire bat. Yep. So there were your weapons that were included in this game.
Now I have a question.
Oh wow, there's a. Is it our first what?
Was this our first time having female wrestlers on a video game?
Female wrestlers?
was a couple female wrestlers.
Well, there were, and see, it could be. I moved down here, and I didn't realize they also had. There's two other rosters, and the one just says Independent Union. So this was probably a lot of the people that we didn't know, like Black Ninja,
Right.
one called the Unknown. We had Black Belt, the Claw. Glacier was a hidden character. There you go.
Glacier, yeah.
Not only were there female wrestlers on this, these characters were from the game DOA. You remember Dead or Alive?
Oh, was
Do you
it?
remember that? Do you remember the game Dead or Alive? It was called DOA. Yeah, that's.
I remember Dead or Alive volleyball.
Well, there was actually there was a Dead or Alive video. There was a Dead or Alive video game, and those female characters came from that video game. So Kimchi and Blackheart and the rest of them I can't pronounce, but yeah.
Oh shit! I remember Kimchi and Blackheart.
Yeah, Hannibal. Yeah, and then Wrath was also a hidden character. I didn't.
Even make the connection.
Me neither. Until I just scrolled down farther. So, yeah. So you had Wrath and Glacier were both hidden characters. One here. We've talked about them before because they were like the Mortal Kombat WCW characters. So.
Wrestling has a long line of parody of real things.
Right.
Like
So yeah, this was also the Toxic Turtles. This was also a THQ game, which they are still around to this day. And yeah, only released on the 64.
I feel like these games are the games that made me realize who THQ was. You start paying
Right.
attention to this one.
Yeah. It said this game got a lot of praise for its easy game controls. Was one thing that people liked. And the graphics, I mean, we got to remember what time it was. The graphics were pretty good. Like, you could tell who everybody was. I noticed in the video, did you notice in the video there was also a non-NWO Hogan? I don't know if that was just an alternate attire, but they did have the red and yellow Hogan in this game as well.
I didn't see that. It might have been an alternate.
I don't know if that was an alternate attire or if that might have been something that was locked. But overall, I wish I remembered it more. The biggest thing I could see is, like we talked about, it looked like a lot of people had the same similar finishers, except for maybe a few cases.
A
But
lot of them had that same, like, power bomb into a pin.
yeah,
I
and then I didn't even.
something here. Let's take
Yeah.
a look at the cover art for this WCW versus NWO World Tour, which I have over here, as you
Which you have right here.
Yes,
Yes.
right here. Yes, over that way. And, why does it look like the Giant is trying to pass a bowel movement?
It does. It does. That was.
What is up with that face?
He made that face. He made that face many times back then. You got to remember the Giant was also another person that was kind of a Goldberg situation. You know, he didn't know anything about wrestling when they brought him in. You know, so he was learning as he goes. But he definitely looks like he's constipated. That's for sure. And then I'm surprised. Why did they choose, like, okay, so you have Hogan on the one side, who is definitely the face of the NWO. Why in the hell do you have the Giant? Like,
I don't know.
and eventually he becomes NWO eventually too. Like, you think they would have put Sting on that side, or I don't know, Flair even, like somebody that actually.
Well, I'm sure they didn't know that he was going to become an NWO.
Well, they didn't, and when they first brought him in right off the rip, this was the big feud because they said he was Andre's son, you know, and all that. So I guess that's the reason for putting.
Oh, Hogan versus the Giant. Okay.
Yeah. When the Giant was first brought in, that was the story.
That's what makes
Yeah.
that make sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, they played off saying that he was Andre the Giant's son. That's where his character come from.
Okay. See,
Oh, yeah.
I didn't watch a lot of WCW, so I didn't know these things.
Yeah, that's how they brought it. Yeah, actually, the first time he ever made his appearance, he was in the crowd, and he threw a shirt at Hogan, and when Hogan unfolded the shirt, it was an Andre the Giant shirt, like the classic Andre shirt with the handprint on it. So that was the whole storyline, is that he was Andre the Giant's son. And you could believe it. Like, I knew he wasn't, just because I've always been a wrestling nerd and I knew Andre didn't have a son. But you could totally buy that he was Andre the Giant's son. I mean, it was believable. That's why he just wore like the plain black, singlet when he first came in to look like Andre. So, yeah, that was the.
Son of a bitch. I'm gonna hate myself in the morning with this, but I feel bad for any woman that had sex with Andre the Giant. Holy shit.
He just had to go there.
Massive hog on that man, I would imagine.
Wow. Wow. That's he has a wife. He's had the same wife. He's had the same wife for a long time. So I mean, yeah.
How big is his wife? How small is she?
That's a good question. But yeah, the funny background is Hulk Hogan was at some kind of basketball game, and that's the first time that he saw Paul White, was at this basketball game, and immediately. I know what you're. Oh, I thought you were talking about Paul White. Andre. I don't know. As far as I know, though, he did have the same wife his whole life, and they have one daughter. They had a daughter together. So she did not get into wrestling. So.
So Andre does have a daughter.
He does have a daughter. He never had a son, but he does have a daughter. And you can't really, like, her name is Robin, but she's not, you probably think she's like 10 feet tall and all that. No, she's not. She did not end up being a giant, so. No.
Although that's probably better for her health.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I love, like, he never used his real last name, and I'd probably butcher it trying to say it, but it's like Rossimovs or something. It's a really messed up last name. Yeah, there you go. Yep, that's Andre's daughter. Yep. So, yeah. She's probably, like you said, better off not getting. Even though, see, now Paul White had the same thing Andre did. The difference was because of the way medicine changed and everything. Paul White was able to have his surgery to prevent it from progressing further, and Andre didn't have that option back then. So that's the good thing about, medical things getting better, and Paul White's still very healthy. Haven't seen him in a while. He's been off TV. He is in AEW still, but he's been doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff, so.
I'm just looking at Andre the Giant's wife, and she's so tiny. Oh my goodness. Alright, I'm done thinking of that. That just sounds dangerous.
Oh my gosh. This guy just had to take it there, didn't he? It just sounds dangerous.
So there's a picture of him picking her up. Maybe she likes to be lifted up by men.
Oh yeah. Maybe. Oh wow, I just looked her up too, and that's definitely where the daughter gets her looks from, for sure. Yeah, mom and daughter look a lot alike. Well, I think the mom and the daughter look a lot alike, for sure. Yeah. Yep. Definitely similar builds. Interesting. Oh my gosh, I looked up a picture of Andre the Giant as a baby. Oh my. Anyway, giving birth to him probably was not a fun experience either. So overall, like I said, I wish I had more memories of this game. I cheated and looked ahead, and it's definitely the Revenge game that I remember way more. I can tell just by the cover of it that that's the one I played a ton of. I might have played this one just a little bit, but I'm definitely not as familiar with it. The graphics were okay, but
I have a feeling you weren't able to customize on this one. And
yeah, I don't.
A lot of customization with the rest
Yeah,
of
and that was definitely that was Revenge. Yeah. which will be next year on video game reviews. So, but you can definitely see graphics getting better. It's cool they had that big of a roster. I had to scroll down. I didn't realize they had all those other people. Of course, the one was just like made up wrestlers, but you got to have those generic jobbers, right? You got to have somebody to lose to. And as far as the cover, yes, I guess it makes sense. Ric Flair looked a little fat, but
I just realized we're talking all about Andre the Giant's daughter and everything. I do
yeah,
have the power to show that to everyone here.
he has the power.
I
He-Man
got
also had the
power.
power.
Sure.
He forgot he had the power. We're still playing around, folks. Hey, there's my co-host. See, there he is right there. He's right there in front of us.
I
Okay, here's what we were talking
sure.
about too. Yes, it says here that its sequel, WCW NWO Revenge, would build upon the engine so it could include ring entrances, improved graphics, more arenas, signature moves, championships, alternate attire, and create mode. So all that comes. There's Andre's wife. There we go.
No, that's
So
not
yes,
his wife.
Revenge.
That's his daughter. That was Andre the Giant's daughter.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, no, that's his daughter. Wife, I will have up in a second.
According to when I Google, that's his wife, but I could be wrong. Jean Christ Jean Christensen.
When I did a search, that was his daughter.
Huh.
And then this is his wife. Great
You were
content.
married to Andre?
That's Andre's wife.
Oh, okay, okay. Gotcha.
The other one, that's Robin.
She just had her hair
That's
a different color in that
that's
picture.
Robin
Yes.
and Robin in full
Gotcha.
makeup.
Gotcha. Yeah, and her hair was just happened. She must have dyed her hair. Like the picture I looked at, her hair was a different colors, and she didn't have all that makeup
Yeah,
on. So that's why it threw me off. That's all.
right.
Right. All right. All right. Well, good stuff. Well, next time we video game review next year, I'll know more about NWO Revenge for sure. But like I read, that's the one you remember too, because that's when you get the creative mode. You get championship belts, you get entrances, so it's got a better engine. It's a better version of this. So that one we'll know
Right.
more about. All right, so there you go. There's our video game review. We talked about the Sheik tweet. We talked crap like we always do. So I think we're ready for our pay-per-view.
All right, let's get it started. In
In
your
your house,
house. Well, wait. I
Revenge of the
had it up
Taker.
here. Revenge of the Taker. That's what it was. All right,
Revenge
let's
of the
get this
Taker,
going.
yes. All right. All right. So before our first uh, I guess I should say we get an opening package, is what I should say first. All about Undertaker and Mankind. We're fighting for the championship tonight, and we have Vince McMahon, Jerry the King Lawler, and Jim Ross on commentary. And right away, we get a World Tag Team match: LOD versus Davey Boy and Owen for the tag team titles. Man, LOD. Do you have any doubt why? I gotta love this guy. Is there any doubt why uh, people were fans of LOD? Man, I mean, come on. Those guys just look like somebody's gonna get their ass kicked when they come out.
Indeed.
They're big, they're powerful, they're good in the ring, and they're taking on another great tag team in Davey Boy and Owen. Hard hitting action right away. Hell of a way to kick off a pay per view, that's for sure. I'm excited about seeing this because I haven't really seen LOD wrestle in a long time. But now that we go back and do this show, it's just, man, those guys, everything they do looks like it hurts. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't want to get in the ring with
Yeah.
them. Every move looks like you're dying. I'm just saying. An animal makes everyone in the ring look small, and they're not small guys. Davy Boy is not little. Hawk's not little,
No,
but Animal makes
Davy Boy
everyone look
definitely
tiny.
not.
And interesting enough, Animal was never on the juice either. Animal was not a steroid guy. He just worked out. He didn't use cocaine. That was Hawk. But really good tag team match, and we got to a point where he thought LOD won, and I guess this was, I got to remember this is back in the day that was kind of a cheesy little deal there. Uh, LOD did an off the top power slam, and they got the 3 count, and then another ref came out to point out they pinned the illegal man. So we got a match restart. And then, did you hear them say that if Owen and Davey didn't return to the ring by a 10 count, they would lose the match and the titles? That was kind of cool to throw in there, seeing how that's not normally how it goes, you know. And of course, Davey Boy and Owen were like, "No, we don't want to go back in there. Those guys are way too big. We don't want to do that." I actually
Um,
pointed out on their entrance that we have to have the Evil Heart Foundation now because Brett and Davey came out to Brett's music, so we know we now have the evil group, the Heart Foundation.
right. Uh, Something I wanted to bring up, by the way, and I
Yeah.
forgot to bring it up while we were talking about the wrestling review,
Yes.
is there was a 20 count. I would assume it was 20. Because when I was watching the long play, the one guy was outside the ring and they counted 11, 12, 13. Is that a WCW rule that I don't remember?
Yes. Yes. There was a time in WCW where they had a 20 count on the outside. Yes.
I
Yeah,
don't
that was a
remember
thing.
that.
That was during that same era where I think it was still illegal to throw a guy over the top rope, and yeah, that was
Oh,
that. There were some strange things in WCW. You know, not that I always the 20 count wasn't always a bad thing. I mean, there's a lot of times if it's a pay-per-view or a championship match, the ref's kind of lenient. I think you can always tell when there's going to be a count out for sure because they count faster or slower. Yeah, 20 count was a thing. That was a thing in WCW at one point. A little weird, but you know, got to be
I
different,
did
right?
not. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Well, you didn't watch a lot of WCW to be fair, so
no, I
that's not
didn't.
really you will be eventually when we get there. 30 years from now when we're doing WCW
30 years.
pay-per-views. Yeah. When we're like 80 and we're doing the
Well,
WCW watch along.
well,
Then
WWE pay per views are still going on, so it's going to be a
true.
while.
It's gonna be an eternity. We will live forever. So yes, this match was forced to restart, and I kind of figured once they did the restart that it wasn't gonna go the way we wanted it to go, and it didn't. It didn't. That dirty Brett that hit me at heart stuck his nose in the match. We did get to see a Doomsday device though, which is always sweet. It's such a man. That move looks like that could kill you too, which it can break your neck if you don't land right. Just say it.
Well,
Well, that
definitely,
happened once, but it's fine.
definitely a devastating move for sure.
The end was a little weird to me though. Like I get it that Brett interfered, but they nailed the Doomsday device on Owen and they went for the pin, and the ref refused to count the pin because Animal was still in the ring. Like how many times do you see the ref go, "Nope, I'm not counting that pin till you get out of this ring, young man." They were obviously just buying time to make sure Brett got out there to
Right.
interfere. But yeah, uh, I thought that was kind of funny. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna count that three. Oh, not yet. And then the Legion of Doom acted bad because they didn't hand them the titles. They had to explain to them, no, you can't have the belts. You do. You won. It was a disqualification. You do not win. So not. It was a good opener though. It was actually a solid tag team match. Very hard
Yeah,
hitting.
good,
Davey Boy
good
and
match.
Owen are really good together. Davey Boy and Owen are an excellent tag team.
Two excellent tag teams, because obviously Legion of Doom also
Oh,
excellent tag team.
I think the last several weeks we've been pointing out how both of us didn't realize just how good Davey Boy really was,
Yeah, well,
especially at this time.
we've been singing his praises for quite a while now because
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
that's another thing about going back and watching this stuff is some people you just forget how good they are or how long they were around. I mean, Bulldog's been a top guy for
he's been
ever
around
since he
since
took
pretty
Brett
much
on.
the
Like,
beginning.
yeah,
He's
since
he's
In Your
been
House
there from the
5,
beginning.
basically. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. So I don't even mind the shenanigans. I'm excited now that we have the Evil Heart Foundation.
you know
Again, we
what?
don't watch
I
Raw,
love
so
me
we.
some shenanigans.
Oh yeah,
Well, you know
and
that
dude.
Brett only came out there because it was bullshit that they didn't just hand the titles to Owen and British Bulldog. I mean, obviously
Oh
LOD cheated to get that win. But
Cheated.
they tried to pull a fast one by pinning the wrong man.
Oh, so you feel like they should have just handed the titles to him after that and not restarted the match?
Absolutely,
Okay,
that's the only fair thing to do.
sure. LOD didn't know it was the illegal man. They were just going with the flow. Owen had fell out of the ring. They had no idea that was the illegal man. It was They had no
What?
idea. They had no clue.
It was a plot by Legion of Doom, and you all fell for it.
Maybe they're working with Stone Cold. Maybe it's a big conspiracy. Because they actually showed, they cut during the match to show,
Absolutely.
again, we don't watch Raws because obviously something happened. They cut and showed an image of Stone Cold arriving to the building. And then after the
Yep.
match, Doc's interviewing Owen and Bulldog, and they're like, there's no way Stone Cold's here. That's impossible. There's no way he made it to the building. There's no way. So they must have, attacked him or
Right,
something
and that
on a
what a
previous Raw.
what a major disrespect to the Hart Foundation. Major disrespect. They are in that ring showing you how great they are, and they show Stone Cold Steve Austin instead of their greatness. It was just absolute disrespect to the Hart Foundation.
Sure it was. Sure it was. I think they'll be okay. They'll be fine. And I think Stone Cold's going to get a little revenge tonight against Bret the Hitman Hart. And I'm looking forward to that. I had no idea, but that match is on this card. We get a rematch between Bret and Stone Cold to determine the number one contender for the WWE F back then titles. So we have that to look forward to on this
Full
pay-per-view.
disclosure,
By the way,
that was amazing.
let's mention real quick what we missed because I know you always like to know this. The dark match for this was the Sultan against Flash Funk. So we don't get to see that match. Sorry.
Oh no Flash
The
Funk,
Salt,
no
the Sultan won in
Sultan.
yeah, Sultan won in 2.5 minutes. Well, no Sultan means you don't get to see Bob Backlund. I'm just saying.
Oh,
I know
oh, my heart.
your
No
heart.
Bob
Your heart.
Backlund. Oh, oh,
So
I
even with the shenanigans, which I'm okay with, this was a good solid tag team match. A good way to open it up because the crowd was definitely crazy, going nuts over the Legion of Doom. And why wouldn't you? They're a very badass tag team. Um, so even with the shenanigans, I liked it. I'm gonna give this 3 pins to the wrong guy. 3 legal
uh,
pins.
I thought this was a fantastic match. I was gonna give it 4. Uh, disrespect to the Hart Foundation.
Disrespect to the Heart Foundation. I don't feel sorry for them. I'm just saying they deserve it. The dirty
They do
dogs.
deserve.
You did
They
the
deserve
one thing we
every
didn't see a lot
bit
of
of the
is
titles.
it kind of seemed like they didn't really tease the Owen and Davy Boy issues this time though. Maybe the forming of the Heart Foundation
The
has brought them
forming of
back
the Hart.
together.
Brett came in and brought this group together.
Brought the family back together.
I'm trying to think.
I'm
Don't they have another person? Isn't there 4 people in the Hart
well,
Foundation?
that's what I'm curious about, and we did see him for a minute because after you saw the interview with Owen and Davey, they shot to the back to the superstar line, and you had Sonny back there with Brian Pillman, and basically they were trying to sell more than the superstar line. I'll tell you that they were a little friendly. But anyway,
Yeah.
eventually Brian Pillman ends up being in the Heart Foundation. Brian Pillman's the other
Oh, I
member.
don't remember that. That's not who I thought it was. I can't remember who
Yeah,
I thought it was, but I could have. I remembered there being another member.
I believe at some point too, Jim the Anvil comes back for a little while, but yeah,
Okay,
Brian Pillman ends up
that
being in.
that's what I remember.
Yeah, Brian
Yeah,
Pillman does
I
join the
didn't
Heart
know.
Foundation.
I did not know Pillman was part of the Hart Foundation.
Yeah, and they kind of tie it up by saying that he was trained in the Heart Dungeon and
And Stu
all
Hart's
that, but
dungeon. Gotcha.
Pillman just finds a way to do it, man. He was a horseman and then he got himself into the Heart
Right.
Foundation. He just finds ways. That's all. But yeah, I believe Jim the Anvil also comes back at some point.
Surprised he wasn't a Steiner brother at one time.
Right. And actually, when I looked up the 1997 Heart Foundation, yeah, you see a picture with Jim in there too. So Jim will be coming back. Jim the Anvil will be coming back at some point as well.
There we go.
And Brian Pillman will be in there eventually too. So, oh man, I wonder if that's
Now we
before or
have
after the
what?
gun.
We have like 2 stables. Is it just 2 right now? Legion of Doom, or not Legion of Doom? Heart Foundation
Heart,
and Nation of
and Nation.
Domination,
Yeah, I believe that's the only
and
ones
then
right
DX
now.
will
Yeah,
be showing up soon.
DX is not far behind. We are on the cusp
Now
of
we're
that
getting
for
to
sure.
stables. I love me some stables.
Doesn't everybody? You know,
Apparently,
even
for
though
a long period of time in the 2000s, there was not a lot of them liked it.
no, the most dominant one during that period of time it would have been Evolution in
I'm talking
WWE.
about after that. Like for a while there, they just did
Oh
not
yeah, for a
have.
while there were none. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you had none for a long time, and then you had some failed ones they attempted. You know, but yeah, I'm all about some good factions, man, for sure.
Me too. Me too.
All right, well, let's see what's next. All right, so our next match is an Intercontinental title match, and it's Savio Vega against Rocky Maivia. And we got a little package of how the nation has been attacking Rocky lately. And we get Farouk on commentary, which is more of the match than the match is. I'm just saying. But this was definitely way better than the last time we saw Rocky put the title on the line against the Sultan, that's for sure.
Yeah, we didn't get any Rocky Sucks chance on this one.
There were no Rocky Six chants this time, no. Of course, I don't know if you could have heard him over Farouk. I'm just saying. Like, I get they're trying to tell a story, but there was so much commentary by Farouk, and they felt the need to cut to him every time he was talking
Yeah.
about how he'll disband the nation if they can beat everyone in one night. Blah 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 blah. You know, like I get it. I get you're trying to build a story, but we're also trying to watch the match. I'm just saying. And it was a way better match. You could tell Rocky's getting a little better in the ring. And again, Savio, I always give him crap. Of course, if he didn't steal hubcaps all the time, I wouldn't. But he is actually a good performer. I was just never a
Well,
huge fan of his character, but this was 10. I mean, way above the last Intercontinental title match we saw for sure.
well, yeah, absolutely. And maybe that was
And
just the
I mean,
Chicago crowd calling Rocky Sucks.
yeah,
You know, those
yeah,
Chicago people are very passionate about the wrestling.
yeah. You just go back to you go back to the fact that we were in Chicago then, and they're just very vocal. But I'm sure there's been some Rocky sucks chants on Raws and stuff as well. We also noticed that Raw is war now. Did you already mention that? We talk about that we now know that
I don't
Raw
know
is
if we
war.
mentioned. I don't know if we mentioned it on the podcast, but when I was watching it, I did mention it. I was like, I looked at the graphic to the bottom left, and it was Raw is war. So it's now Raw is
Yes,
war. So, whew, Attitude Era
which is
is just sneaking up on our asses.
it is very quickly because back in the day when they did that, I believe that Raw wasn't war until like the second hour because they considered that later and they could get more edgier during that second hour because that's when the kiddos went to bed. I believe that's how that whole Raw is war thing started. Maybe that wasn't until they called it like I don't know, but it was something like that. It was like the first hour was just Raw, and then when you got to the second hour, it was later. So then you could be more raunchy and more, soon everything's going to be raunchy though. We're gonna have ball and panty matches and puppies.
Puppies!
But overall, this was probably, and I'm not saying this was like a 5-star match, but this was probably the best Rocky match so far, in my opinion. Um,
Yeah,
I,
you bitch about Savio so much,
but
but
as a
it seems
performer,
like he keeps doing decent matches. So,
yeah, he is a good performer. I just was never into him, so I like to just go over the top. But I know I've brought it up before where Stone Cold gives Savio credit for helping him with the matches he had with him, getting him over and helping him when he came in. So I mean, Savio's a good worker. Savio was just never going to be your world heavyweight champion. I don't even know if Savio ever had a title, and that's not dissing him. I just don't know. But as far as a good solid worker, yes, Savio is a good in the ring, and he helps other people look good, and that's what you want in a wrestler. He just his character was, eh, whatever.
although I like him in the Nation,
Yeah, he works better in
that's
the nation for sure.
works in the Nation.
This is just still that weird time where you have a lot of which I don't it's think why Rocky Maivia didn't work at first. You're still in a time where you have a lot of characters. You have the Undertaker, you have Mankind. Technically, Bret Hart isn't a character, but he is because he's the Hitman. I mean, there's still at least something there. There's not a lot of guys that just go by their name and that's it. And that's kind of what Savio was. He didn't really have a character. He was just Savio Vega. But it does work better for sure in the nation.
If you
I'm
get
still confused why.
technical,
I'm
Savio
still
Vega
confused why.
is kind of a cool name.
Yeah, well, yeah. Still confused with Crush being in the Nation, but whatever. It's a
Yeah,
little weird.
yeah, I know. And in this match, Crush Crush causes a count out by attacking Rocky Maivia, and
Yeah.
Savio's pissed. And I swear
Oh
he's
yeah.
just yelling at him, being like, "What the fuck are you even doing here? You don't fit the rhyme scheme of the Nation of Domination. Like, why are you here, white boy?
What in this picture does not belong?
One of these
But you are
things
right.
is
He does.
not like the other."
Yeah, he does calls the count out, and they start going at it. So Farouk goes in there because he feels like he has to get them all back on the same page, and then they all just start gang beating the the Rock. And we knew someone was coming for the save because the crowd goes crazy, and it was Ahmed Johnson with a 2x4 that he probably stole from Hacksaw Jim Duggan because we know he stole some spikes from LOD, so he probably stole that 2x4. But
Yeah.
here comes Ahmed to save the day. And he starts talking crap to the nation and he calls, let's see, he said, the illegal immigrant, the convict, and your black ass. That's what he said to Farouk.
So he was talking to Savio Vega when he said the convict, right? For stealing
Well, I
all
believe
those
the convict was
from cars.
the, well, the convict, I believe in this case is Crush, but Savio's the
Savio Vega
illegal.
just doesn't get caught, is what you're saying? Okay, gotcha.
Yes, yes, yes. Crush is literally like wearing a shirt with his prison number on it. So, we're supposed to believe that he's a hardened criminal. Things are tough in Hawaii, man. You don't know.
Well, I mean,
The streets,
the mean streets of
the mean streets of
Honolulu
Hawaii.
or something.
Yes. And
Honolulu
so
or something.
Ahmed came out and started running his mouth, and we were both watching, hoping like this was the point where The Rock decided, you know what? We were like waiting on Rocky to attack Ahmed, but that didn't happen. We're not getting Nation Rock quite yet.
Yeah.
Not quite yet, but we got to be close. And I don't think it's too long after Rock joins the Nation that he literally takes over the Nation as well. Like I don't think it takes long before Rock becomes the leader of the Nation. So
Well, I am looking forward to that. I feel like, because I don't remember Crush being in the Nation at all.
I
So
think once
I feel like The Rock shows up and then takes out Crush.
yeah, because I feel like when Kama joins and then D'Lo actually becomes a wrestler, I feel like Crush is gone by then. Like we're gonna get Kama back soon, Papa Shango, whatever you want to call him, and he'll be in the Nation. D'Lo will actually start wrestling and be in the Nation. So yeah, I feel like when Rock takes over, Crush ends up gone, not from WWF, but just from the Nation.
And I'm guessing the rappers are gone too, because I do not
Yeah,
remember
they don't
white
last either.
people in the Nation.
No, they actually end up going to WCW for no reason because they'd never wrestle, but I think they come in with the Insane Clown Posse or something. But yeah, they ended up in WCW
That
for a minute.
makes that fits them.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense for them. So here again, we got another, a decent match, but so far it's two matches in a row that have ended in shenanigans and no actual pins or anything. But this one made sense for the storyline. And yeah, I think they're already like showing signs of Crush won't be there too long. They're like, why did we let this white boy join anyway? What was the sense in that?
What are you doing here?
Like you can't even buy Crush as the enforcer because Farouk's way bigger than Crush. I mean, Crush is taller, but like it's not like I believe Crush is protecting Farouk. Like I don't. Hey, look, if I do air quotes now, people will see it. They can never
Hey,
see him
you
before.
do
I'm all like, yeah,
quotes now,
I'm
and
gonna
you
quote
never
all the
use
time
the
now.
quote.
Quote, quote,
Yay!
quote, yay.
This might be
So,
better.
yeah. So I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but I'm gonna give this three stolen 2x4s. It was another decent match. It was definitely a good match. I wish I could have focused more, but they kept showing Farouk every time he ran his mouth. They kept doing the screen and picture thing. But yeah, another solid match.
I'm gonna go with three. Tease me, Rocky Maivia heel turn.
So
Wait,
close. We're so
waiting for it.
close.
I kept
Waiting.
thinking, I was like, he's about to attack Ahmed. Please
That's
attack
what we
Ahmed.
both. Yeah, we were both
Fucking
hoping. We're
Ahmed
hoping for it.
Johnson.
Yeah. Can we just get rid of Ahmed now, please? I know he's not gonna be there that much
Ahmed we
longer,
don't
but
like, and we have justifiable reason. Vega
oh
you
yeah,
don't
because
like, but he's actually decent.
yeah,
Ahmed
Ahmed's
just
actually legit horrible. Legit.
he looks good. He looks the part.
Yep.
He's just not good.
Then the bell rings.
The bell
Even
rings.
when
Yeah,
Yes,
looks
then the bell
away
rings and
from
you're
the
like,
bell
oh,
ring, and then the bell. Oh wait,
then
I
the
think
bell
I
rings.
actually have to do something now.
Yeah, yeah. I stole that. That's a saying that's famous with Bruce Pritchard. That's what he likes to say when somebody was bad. They'd be like, "Yeah, they had the look, they could talk, and then the bell rings, and
Yeah,
it's
but
all bad."
Ahmed can't
Savio
talk.
can actually.
Ahmed's
No,
not
I'm
good
at.
on the mic either.
No, he literally just has a look. That's why when he came out and he dropped the 2x4, he felt the need to rip his shirt off so he could remind
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
how buff he is.
He came
Yeah,
out. He's
but
like, "Oh wait, I have one thing. Look at
yeah,
these specs. Boom, 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 boom."
and that's all I have. Just these specs. Uh,
That's all
but I
you
feel like
need.
it's really close. It's probably the next pay per view or the one after. Like we're gonna have to look that up too because we said we'll actually watch the uh the interview segment on Raw when The
Oh
Rock
yeah.
has his little breakout. You know, we're gonna watch that, so we'll have to check and do our research and see. That might be before the next pay per view. But we let this continue to play. We went ahead and watched the next segment, which was them just interviewing Mark Marrow and Sable backstage. We figured it wouldn't take that long. And Marrow was talking about recovering from injury, and Sable wanted to slam me. And then you see Stone Cold go to the restroom behind them. The men's room's right behind him. So he goes in there, and the next thing you know, you hear all this noise. So we know somebody's fighting. Then you see Owen and Bulldog come out. So they jumped Austin. Austin's been jumped in the bathroom. I hope he's okay.
The
Stone
match
Cold, are you okay?
there might be pee all over that floor because he had
You
a
know what I'm
complaint
saying?
and they attacked him.
Isn't that rude? He's
That's
going in there
rude.
and trying to let his Budweiser out, his Steve Weiser out, and he gets jumped while he's trying to take a piss. That's not cool. Let the man
Austin
use the restroom.
316 means I need to piss, motherfucker.
So we'll see. They're obviously trying to build this to where they're trying to make it look like Austin's not going to make it to his match against Bret Hart later in the night. So we're going to see where
I
that
thought
ultimately goes.
I thought the Heart Foundation said that he wasn't there.
Right? They didn't believe it. Remember? They kept saying, "There's no way he's here. That's impossible. He can't be here." But they sure happened to know he was going to use that restroom. I'm sure that's the only restroom backstage in that whole arena, and they knew that that's the one he was going to use.
Absolutely.
They got that.
That's
They're like
for
psychic.
that's for the wrestlers. That's a specific wrestler bathroom.
Pacific Wrestling. Well, that's not far fetched that it could be the only one in a blocked off area, but you know, they knew where to go. They knew Austin was coming there to pee. They knew it. They were like, he's had about 6 beers by now if he's been here for 20 minutes. So let's go wait for him in the bathroom and jump him. It's going to be good stuff. All right. Well, two decent matches in a row, but I kind of like to see a match with a finish other than a DQ or a count out. You know what I mean?
You're
The
asking.
shenanigans have made sense at least. They're not shenanigans just for shenanigans. I'm okay when it has to do with a story and it's going somewhere, and we know we're going somewhere with the nation. So
Oh
I didn't
yeah,
hate it at
absolutely.
all. I mean,
Well,
it
same
makes
with the
sense.
Owen
It
Hart
totally
stuff
lines up.
too. I
Plus,
mean,
they keep pushing the fact about how The Rock's the luckiest champion. Like they mentioned that at WrestleMania too. He keeps winning, and they're like, he's the luckiest champion ever. So yeah, it all makes sense. It all goes with the story. I'm not hating, not at all. I would say let's see what next, but you spoiled yourself. You know what's next,
I
but we're gonna
did
watch it
spoil
anyway.
myself, but let's go.
Spoiler. Let's check it out. All right, for our next match, we get a little clip on how the real Double J decided he didn't want to be with the honky tonk man no more. He done hit him with the guitar. How could he do that to the honky tonk man?
Poker Town fan.
So Double J, yeah, Double J, but not the Double J that I don't like. The other, the real, the real Double J comes out and he's singing his hit song "Be with My Baby Tonight." And now we got to that point I was talking about where the storyline has come out that it was actually the Road Dogg Jesse James singing that song and not Double J Jeff Jarrett. Shit. Anyway, so Jesse James comes out and then we get the Honky Tonk Man and he's out there saying, "I told y'all I was going to introduce you to my new protege." And he's a man formerly known as Billy Gunn, now known as Rockabilly. Woo, yeah, boy. And not only are you quick, but you even found the right gear. Look at that Rockabilly
I think
jacket.
I did.
Boy. I mean, how could anyone think that Mr. Ass was going to be more popular than Rockabilly? I'm just saying. Oh my. So yeah, two matches in a row, as you pointed out. We just got The Rock taking on the Nation, who soon he's going to be a member of, and right here we got a future badass tag team, not looking so badass, taking on each other one on one. Rockabilly and Jesse James.
I don't know. I kind of loved all of Jesse James showboating in this. This is pretty great.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought his character was pretty good. The rockabilly thing, I guess it worked for a minute, but basically this is, hey guys, we like you both and you both have talent. We just aren't quite sure what to do with you right now. So this is what we're gonna
It's like
do.
somebody saw this match and they're like, "Wait a minute, what if we put the
Do you
two
believe it
of
or
you?"
not? Now, this shouldn't shock you, but believe it or not, the person that went to Vince and said he should put these guys together in a tag team was none other than Shawn Michaels. Shawn was the one that went to Vince and said, hey, I know you don't have anything for these two guys, but I think they should be a tag team. So you can credit Shawn Michaels for the New Age Outlaws becoming a thing, which is going to happen pretty soon. And Jesse James is actually part of, you didn't watch a whole lot of WCW, but Jesse James is actually an Armstrong, and they're a very famous wrestling family, and pretty much all of them wrestled in WCW. Uh, the only other Armstrong that was ever in WWF was one of his brothers became a referee eventually. I think it was Brad Armstrong, but yeah, they're all famous. Their dad was a wrestler. They're all second generation. They just never brought it up because the Armstrongs were never wrestled in WWE. So of course Vince would never bring up the fact that he was from that family, since they were not a WWF wrestling family. So, but this was actually a good match. This is two talented wrestlers right here. Like I always loved the Road Dogg, and I think part of it was he doesn't look like he's a wrestler at all. Like he never did. He just doesn't look like a wrestler. But in the ring, the man knows what he's doing, and he's very good on the mic, and he's very good at showboating. So he has all the other skills that you don't necessarily, you don't have to have the look every time if you have it on the mic and you have it in the ring. Ahmed unfortunately only had one thing. You need at least two of those three to be able to pull off being a wrestler. You know,
Understood.
but not a bad
Understood.
match though. Not a bad match at all. It wasn't very long either. It was kind of a short match, and Jesse James kind of won quickly too. But I believe we saw a famouser, if I'm not mistaken. We did get to see a famouser done the right way. He nailed that famouser, didn't he? Do you remember that spot?
I missed it.
Did you miss it? Yeah, I believe Rockabilly did actually hit a famouser the proper way off the rope, like he always does. He may have missed it. Sorry, not quite sure. But overall, not a bad match. Jesse James just won on a quick roll up, and soon we're going to see these guys not against each other. But I mean, I'm talking like next pay per view, they might be together. The Rockabilly thing I know does not last.
Doesn't last long. See,
Does not last long.
I just thought this is your first match that has no shenanigans.
True, we got
We
a
got
actual
a
pin.
clean finish.
We got a clean finish. Yep, we got the old classic,
Classic
quick out of
roll up.
nowhere.
And I
Yep.
liked this roll up. This was one that
Y-
I actually thought worked.
yes. Yeah. When they're done right, there's nothing wrong with them when they're done the right way. That's for sure. And it was just great. It's like we talk about all the time. You go back and watch this old stuff. It's just great to see these guys in their early phases. And like you said, Jesse James, even as this character, he was entertaining already. You know,
Right.
and and even though the rockabilly thing ain't that great, you could tell both these guys were very talented. Um, I think that even back in the day, I could tell that when it came to the smoking guns, that Billy Gunn was going to be the Sean and Bart Gunn was going to be the Marty. It happens. It's just it's I can't remember. I would have to think, and I don't count DX because they kind of formed later, but I don't know if there was ever a tag team that broke up and both guys ended up becoming top stars. That's just not the way it works. You look at the Hart Foundation. Brett was the bigger star. The Bulldogs, Davey Boy became the big star. Pretty much any tag team that breaks up, one guy's going to be a big star and the other guy may hang around or he's just going to disappear. It's what happens.
It's what we fear with Montez Ford and the Street Profits. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah. I already see that happening. Yeah, Dawkins is definitely the Michaels. I mean that's not a knock. Or I mean Montez Ford is definitely Shawn
Ford is
Michaels.
definitely the Michaels,
Yes,
not Dawkins.
Dawkins is
I
not
feel
going to be
bad for
Michaels.
Dawkins. I
Yeah,
don't see Dawkins really going anywhere.
because he's going to end up being
Maybe
a
he's
Marty Jannetty.
decent, but yeah.
By the way, speaking of our boy
Ford,
Marty Jannetty, I don't know if you saw I shared on our Facebook page, but Dark Side of the Ring is coming back, and one of the episodes featured this season will be Marty Jannetty.
right?
So we may get to see the story behind the Marty Jannetty School of Jobbers. Dude, can you imagine? We have to can you imagine what Dark Side of the Ring is going to be like with Marty? That'll probably be one of the best episodes ever. She's not my sister. her daughter, whatever it was. Good news, I'm not related to her, however that
You
went.
know my daughter.
Yeah, he's been kind of uh, not around lately. It's kind of weird. We haven't heard any crazy posts from Marty lately. Hope he's okay. Maybe he's just busy with his Marines jumping people in bars. I don't know. But anyway, this was kind
Maybe
of a
he's
quick
busy
match.
with the Marty Jannetty School of Jobbers.
Ta-da! One of our sponsors here at the show, just in
That's
case you
right.
don't know. If you need somebody to get beat up by 25 Marines, you just call the Marty Jannetty School of Jobbers. They'll make it happen for you. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, Marty Jannetty School of Jobbers. I'll tell you, that Dark Side of the Ring, that might have to be a two-parter. That don't happen very often, but Marty Jannetty had a lot more issues than being the less talented person. I mean, come on. And it's not like he wasn't given 800 million chances, but you got to leave
He
the
did
cocaine and the
over
women
and
alone.
over and over again.
Yeah.
It's like
W
every even in his
WCW even
contract, we've seen him come back like 4 times.
yeah. No one has been hired and fired more times than Marty Jannetty in the WWF. WCW even tried to give Marty Jannetty a chance. So I mean, it's not like he didn't get chances.
Why did they
He
give him
couldn't.
so many chances? I mean, he was good in the ring, but
Yeah. You know,
was
it,
he that
it
big
all
of a
goes
draw that they thought
No, it just
they
all
would
goes back
give him
to
shots?
the period of time when the roster was so thin that you'd call whoever you had to have him come back. You know,
Fair enough.
who knows? Who knows? I don't know. But you also notice there's no Leaf on this pay-per-view either. I'm pretty sure that Al Snow's gone by this point as well. So he'll be back eventually, and then we'll all get some head and we'll all be happy. You know. So anyway, another good match. So this in your house has been kind of it's been consistent. Like this was a good match too. These guys are not two big stars right now, but this was also a good match. Like every match has been decent so far. Nothing over the
Every
top, but
match we've been getting has been nothing but like, and I love it too. Is it's all been,
good.
people that are gonna be huge.
Yes,
Whether they're
yes,
huge
good.
now or not.
They're gonna
Maybe
be,
not
yeah.
Savio Vega, but
Well, yeah,
um,
Savio never gets, unfortunately, to be real big, but still, yeah, it's jammed packed with stars, and we only have two matches left, and those are also going to be filled with future
stars.
Hall of Famers and stars. Yeah, so I'm
Oh,
going to sound like a broken record,
the
but
next two matches nothing but Hall of Famers and greatness.
yeah, that's true. It is. It's all Hall of Famers left. Even well, yeah, that's right. They all are in the Hall of Fame, aren't they? Yeah.
Is Mankind?
I
Have
don't know.
they?
Yeah, Foley's in. Yeah, I'm pretty sure all of them are in now. Yeah,
Okay.
and of course Undertaker went in right away as soon as he
Yeah,
announced he was
yeah, yeah.
retiring. So yeah, he went in right
Well,
away.
I'm
But
trying to remember. Did they? Did they induct Foley as Foley or separately, separate characters? Like, how did they do that? I don't remember.
I'm actually looking to make sure that he's in it. Here we go.
I don't remember.
Yes, he is in the Hall of Fame, and he was inducted as Mick Foley. So I mean, technically, he could go in there three more times.
Yeah,
Right? Technically, he could. I mean, I don't think Dude Love would make it into the Hall of Fame though. Cactus Jack, I could see going in. Mankind, I could see going in. But I'm
Cactus
sure they
Jack
won't.
does his work
I'm
outside of
sure they won't do
WWE,
that
but
though. They probably just put him in as Mick Foley and consider that he's in as all his
yeah.
characters. But
Normally when people are inducted twice, it's because they're inducted as a faction or.
or a team, and in my opinion, the Rock and Sock Connection should be in the Hall of Fame. Just say it.
I don't
The Rock is in,
love the
Foley's
Rock
in,
and
but I
Sock.
think I
I
think
love
that
the Rock
tag
and Sock
team,
connection, but
yeah,
I don't know.
who knows? But yeah, that's like Ric Flair's in there more than once, but that's because he's in there with the Horsemen and he's in there as Ric Flair. So yeah, it can happen if you're part of a faction or you're part of a tag team. You can end up in there multiple
Right.
times. So yeah, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I'm going with another three. I'm giving this match three broken guitars, even though we didn't get to see one broken this match. But yeah, I'm going to give this three guitar
Uh,
shots.
yeah, I'm gonna go with uh, 2.5 roll ups.
Two and a half. Is it fruit roll ups or just regular roll ups?
I wish I'm kind of hungry right now, so fruit roll up does sound pretty good.
They do both sound good. All right. Well, we do know. Oh, we got to mention that too. So they had the backstage segment after this, and it was talking to Stone Cold, seeing if he's okay to go and all this. And then that's when they announced that Gorilla Monsoon has decided to switch the order of the matches to give Stone Cold time to heal. So the main event of Revenge of the Taker will not be the Undertaker's title match. It's going to be Bret Hart and Stone Cold. With that being said, we know
At
the
least
next
that
match
makes
is
sense. At least that makes sense, and
that they
Taker
explained it.
was
Yes,
supposed to be the main event.
yeah, at least they gave a reason because otherwise you would have been like, well, it's called Revenge of the Taker. Why are we not having
I feel
that
like
as
they
the main
called it
event?
Revenge of the Taker, and they're like, then somebody was like, the
No,
biggest match on this card is gonna be like that
Stone Cold
Stone
and Brett.
Cold Bret Hart match was fucking fantastic. They're like,
Yeah, I mean, we gave it
I
five
feel like
stars. Yeah,
that should be the main event. So
yeah,
they were like, they recognized how great that match was. So they were like, we should make that the main event. Let's do a storyline reason to do that.
yes, for sure. And I'm glad they did. I'm glad they explained it and didn't just do it. So,
It just didn't make sense. Yeah, at least it makes
yeah,
sense.
exactly.
All right.
All right, well, let's check out this world title match. Undertaker
Yeah,
Mankind. Dude,
dude.
once again, like we should be shocked. So our next match is the match for the championship. It's the Undertaker and Mankind, and wow, I'm shocked that this is on it in your house. You know what I mean? Like this whole pay-per-view has been like consistent, nothing bad, and it just went from like consistent to boom. I could watch Mankind and Taker wrestle every pay-per-view and not get tired of it. Like they went at it right away, instantly. As soon as Undertaker got in the ring, they started going at it, and it's just hard hitting. We all know how crazy Mick Foley is. There's so many spots in this match that I don't even know where to begin, for goodness sakes. I mean, wow, what a match. What a match. The funny thing is, and we've talked about this before, here are two guys that WCW didn't know. Let's see, they fired Cactus Jack because they thought he was too crazy, and they had no idea what to do with Mean Mark Calloway. And look at him now that they're in the WWF. Undertaker was actually told to his face by WCW that no one would ever buy tickets to watch him wrestle, that he would never be a main event guy. Well, weren't they wrong? I mean,
A little bit.
funny, funny how things work out, right? One loss
It's
is someone
almost
else's gain.
it's almost like you when you see a guy like Rocky Maivia and think that
Right.
guy's never gonna make it.
That guy's
That's
never gonna
how
make it.
that's how right they were.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of Undertaker's favorite stories to tell is when WCW looked him in the eye and said, no one will ever buy tickets to watch you wrestle. You will never be at the top of a card. You have talent, but you're never going to be. Again, it goes back to the right person and the right character, kids. It's pretty easy. You know, it's not
I don't know if it's
because he
easy.
wasn't he wasn't well no, but you know, I'm just saying like because I watched him at WCW and he wasn't horrible, but I would have looked at him the same way, like he was Mean Mark. I never expected him to be the champion. You know, I mean, he was a big guy and he was pretty impressive, but I never expected him to be world champion. So, you know, it is about the gimmick too. Foley being crazy though, when he got to WWF, Vince was like, just let's make money that way. Let him be crazy. Who cares? And you
Yeah.
could tell, like, dude. So there was a point where Undertaker, not once but twice, they were outside. He grabbed Mankind by the throat. He literally threw him into the guardrail, and Foley just hit full speed, cracked his head against. Like that's not fake. Foley just does stuff because he's insane. Two times in a row, you could hear his head crack. This was back when they had the real guardrails. They weren't padded like they were now. And he took two of those shots
It's
back to the head. Like,
amazing. It's amazing
I mean,
that Foley is still with us and like
right.
fully with us. Like
And that he's really not, I mean, maybe it's just good pain management, but he seems to move around well. Like, he walks around better than Hulk Hogan, who was nowhere near as crazy as him. You know, Hulk Hogan needs a cane now because he's had so many back surgeries. Foley's still walking on his own, even after doing all this insane stuff. Like, and he admitted that you know it's just what he had to do. But wow, I mean, we already have a story in this match which helped. But anytime these two guys get together, it's violent. They showed a clip that apparently on a Raw or whatever, Mankind burned Taker's face with a fireball, so he has a bandage on, and it came off during the match. And luckily, thank goodness, there was actually a burn there because, if the bandage would have fell off and there was nothing, that would have just been lame,
Right.
you know? But it
It was
did
just
actually look like Undertaker had
looked,
been burned.
it looked good.
Yes, it did look good and it looked legit. Um, there was another spot where Undertaker was outside and he was laying down and Foley was going to do the elbow to the outside, but he actually climbed up on the turnbuckle this time. And you could tell when he smacked that his knee hit first. And he just got up like everything was fine. That's what's funny is like you can watch Mankind and that's like just really Foley being Foley, people, other than the crazy noises and ripping his hair out, all this other stuff is just Foley being crazy self. Like, and I haven't even got to the table spot yet, which really was mind blowing. I'm pretty sure Foley died here and somehow he came back and died again later in the Hell in the Cell,
Holy
but
shit! Face
dude,
first. Uh, he looked like he
head
was
first.
Winnie the Pooh stuck in a hole. I
Right.
mean, the
I mean, prior to
aftermath
that,
of that.
we got a ref bump. Actually, earlier in the match, the ref was distracted and Mankind tried to use the urn to knock Taker out. He didn't win that way. We got a ref bump, so the stairs end up in the ring, and Mankind has him up like he's going to hit Undertaker with him, and Undertaker was supposed to drop kick the stairs into Foley. He kind of just only used one leg, but still, whatever. It was effective. And then Foley's up on the apron, and Taker knocks him off the apron with the stairs, and Foley literally went head first, folks, like head first through the table. Now these are still like the folding tables. These aren't the hard the announce tables like they got now. They're standard, but still, he literally went head first.
Still, it
And
was
when they showed it on
insane.
the yeah, and when they showed it on the replay, like he didn't even try to protect it with his hands. He just literally dove head first through that table and broke it. Went right through the middle, like
I
somebody
feel
stuck in a
like
manhole. Is what it
I
is
feel
what it
like
looked like.
Foley uh, is a real life Wolverine. He has an
Yeah,
adamantium all over his body, and that's how he's able to take all these shots. And he
he's got
has
to be
no
right.
back to it, right?
Like
He's
you would you would think if you've never seen him now and you watch all this stuff, you would think he'd be in a wheelchair by now, like
he
half
should be.
paralyzed or
How the
yeah,
hell? How the hell did that man go without uh, long term damage to his brain?
right, right. You would think he would have that too, but mentally he seems fine. Now he admits he's always in a lot of pain, but if that's the worst, I mean, it sounds horrible to say that, but if the worst thing he has is daily pain from doing all this, then he's turned out pretty well. He's gotten
I
pretty
think
lucky. I mean,
he's mentally
I,
fine.
yeah, like, but you're
He
right too. You're
apparently has a
surprised
pretty
there's
good
not
pain threshold.
obviously, obviously, and Taker's pretty famous too for wrestling injured all the time as well, but it's just Foley does this stuff on purpose. Like people get injured, Foley just does this stuff on purpose and doesn't care. I'll worry about it later. We talked about it on the last pay-per-view. He thought something was seriously wrong to him with him, and when he went to the hospital, it was just dehydration, and he needed an ice bath because he was so beat up. But he thought he like broke something or pinched a nerve, and they're like, "Nah, you need to slow down, buddy. Like
Pain.
slow down." But what a match! Like we can't even cover all the high spots. It's just these two guys are the perfect opponents for each other. The perfect, and we're not done. We know we're not done because we know we got at least one more famous match between them. But I'm sure there's more than the
I
one.
thought, and I love Undertaker and Mankind, but after last week we did the Stone Cold versus Bret Hart match. I was like, they had to have made that the main event because there's no way Mankind and Undertaker could follow that. But they possibly could have. I mean, we haven't seen what comes next, but
Yeah,
that
I'm
match was
interested for the.
fantastic.
Oh, this was definitely a fantastic match, and like I said, the pay-per-view went from really good all the way through to just another level with these two out there. And yeah, I mean the next match, we know the next match is Bret and I've said this before. I said it when Bulldog and Bret faced, but it's Bret Hart and Stone Cold. But my expectations are it's not going to be better than WrestleMania. I'm not saying it won't be a great match, but I think it'd be hard for them to beat their last match at WrestleMania, that submission match. But you never know.
Yeah,
And I don't
WrestleMania
doubt they
can
can
be
follow
like
this.
bloody Stone Cold. Um,
But again, with this match in the main event, I just go back to the fact that this is an in your house. And this was like
in your house.
a way better quality than an inner house match. You know what I mean? Like this felt like we were watching a Mania or a SummerSlam or something like that because this match was just outstanding,
It was.
outstanding.
It was,
Yeah,
and
and I guess we should mention after
Undertaker.
Undertaker, there was a little awkward spot at the end after the match was over. Undertaker did win the match after Foley killed himself going through that table. I mean, it took a choke slam and a tombstone, but after the match, he was trying to get his hands on Paul Bearer. You could tell that Mankind had something in his hands, and it was obviously for a fireball. But he couldn't get the lighter to light, and then he ended up dropping it. And then Taker picks it up, and he's trying to get and can't get the lighter to light. And finally, Paul Bearer took the fireball to the face. But I was like, here's a little note for all you wrestlers. Maybe you should carry a Zippo out with you when you want to do a fireball because you're having trouble getting your. It made me cringe a little because you don't watch WCW, but the match between when Warrior went to WCW and faced Hulk Hogan, the most famous thing about that horrible match those two had was Hogan was supposed to shoot fire into the Warrior's face, and he couldn't get it to light. And then when he did, he totally missed the Ultimate Warrior with the fireball. Like it was a very awkward, bad thing. Kind of like this, but it doesn't take away from the match at all. And Paul Bearer still sold that he got burned by the fire, so it all
Well,
worked out. They were
they
just
fine
fumbling
with
with the
him. It
lighter.
just took him a while to do it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it built suspense. I don't think there was any issue.
I guess it's because of
Albert
it's because of
going,
my smart
no,
right.
no.
It's for my
And
smart fan
Undertaker
eyes, I
like,
guess.
damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn
Yeah.
it, damn it, damn it, damn it.
Fire, fire. I can't get a light. Fire, fire. But yeah, what a match. What a match. And Undertaker, of course, still walks out the champ.
I'm
And
surprised
man.
Mankind didn't come up to Undertaker and go, damn it,
Oh, we forgot to
Undertaker,
mention
you're doing it wrong.
right. We were kind of joking because we forgot to mention that Foley got tied up in the ropes again, and I can't believe how many times the guy did that. Like, but anyway, he got himself hung in the ropes again, and Undertaker helped to get him out, and his mask came off. And I was just like, I bet Vince is right now just like throwing a fit, like, don't show his face. You can't show that ugly
That
face.
face is ugly. No.
Yeah, and you could literally see the chunk where Foley had no hair from where, like, you could tell the one spot on his head that he keeps pulling it out as a Mankind character because he had a chunk just missing from his
Jeez.
head. Guy's insane. Guy's insane. But this is definitely. Let's see. I mean, wow, it was close. I'm gonna give this 4.5 lighters that won't light.
Oh, I've been going back and forth on whether I want to go all the way. This was great,
Let's go.
but I think I don't want to do a 5 just because of that awesome spot. But it was still a decent match.
Oh yeah, it was. I went back and forth for a while too, so I compromised. I was thinking 4 or 5, so I went ahead and just did 4.5 because it was good. It was almost a 5.
No,
It,
I'm debating on 4.5 or 5. I'm debating on
right,
the 5.
right.
And I think I'm going to go with the 5. This match was great, and it had that amazing spot. This is 5 Pooh Bear, Mankind the Pooh Bear.
Jeez, there's something wrong with this guy. I don't know what to say.
You remember
Yeah,
that
very
Winnie
good
the
match.
Pooh song?
Oh yeah, I remember that
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh
Okay.
song.
That's pretty obscure. It's just a random theme
I
song
know.
they
Don't be trying to give my age away like that. No, you're giving both our ages away. Don't be doing that. That's cut that. Cut that.
I watched it in reruns.
Probably. I mean, we might
And
have both
I
have.
don't
I think
remember.
Winnie the Pooh
I
was.
think that was. I think it was the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah,
I
and
think
which might have
that
been
was
from the
what that
'80s.
song
Yeah.
called. I'll have to look it up, but
Oh yeah.
I think it was called the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh that had that theme song.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. All right. Well, all we have left in this in your house is the main event, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm not going to say they can't top what they've done before because they could prove me wrong. But I have confidence that Brett and Stone Cold can follow this match, especially if you still have that. I feel that true anger is going to be there because this is still angry Brett, like legit angry Brett. So I have a
Yeah,
feeling this is going to be a hard hitting main event for sure. And it's to
yeah.
determine the number one contender for the title. So
Oh man.
let's check it out. All right, so it was our main event. It was Bret Hart and Stone Cold to determine the number one contender. And once again, like with these two, it was a very hard hitting match, a technical match. Bret focused on working on Austin's leg, the same one that the knee brace is on. And I'm not saying by any means it wasn't a good match, but it did not beat the WrestleMania match. And I feel like Taker and Mankind was a little better than this main event. Still a great main event, still hard hitting, but man, it couldn't top the feeling that their last match had at WrestleMania, in my opinion. What do you think?
I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
This wasn't
yeah,
this wasn't even close to the WrestleMania. Not that it was a bad match, but that match was phenomenal.
yeah. Well, this was still a great match. It's still a great wrestling match, and we still have that same story in it. But yeah, it couldn't top the feeling and everything behind their WrestleMania match for sure. And of course, there were little shenanigans, which we should
Some
expect.
bullshittery at the end.
The Hart Foundation is running rampant and taking over, so it's to be expected. But and I love the fact that there was a point in the match where Stone Cold, our babyface, hit a low blow and the fans cheered. Right back to proving our point that he's never actually been a babyface. It's just everybody loved him, so it didn't matter what he did.
Yeah,
It didn't matter.
he gave Bret Hart some gender affirming care.
Yes, yeah. And I think it's a shame Bret wasn't a heel longer because I think Bret Hart was a great heel. I think he was a
He was
really good heel.
well
Like he
because
was
even when
tech.
he was a face, he was always kind of heelish.
Right. And I mean, the Hart Foundation were heels for like back in the day. Him and Jim were heels for a while, but back then Jimmy Hart was their manager. They didn't get to speak a lot. Like Bret's a really good heel, and yeah, I dig it. It was definitely a great wrestling match. It was still great. Like this whole In Your House was a good in your. This might be one of the better ones we watched. I'm talking from beginning to end.
Right.
This might have been one of the best In Your House cards we have seen, and I still felt this still felt like a main event. So at least something followed what should have been the main event. Like this still felt like a main event without the title. It was still a good enough match. It was still something the crowd was into that it still felt like a main event. Because I hate the previous ones we watched where you had such a great match before your main event that your main event was just like, I don't even care about this. You know what I mean? So at least
Right.
this still had a main event feel to it and still had a great story to it. And with the screwy finish, we know the whole story between these two isn't over yet. So we have that to look forward to as
No,
well.
it's still going.
Yeah, and I assume now this makes Stone Cold, and I didn't look ahead because I try not to get spoilers. This makes Stone Cold the number one contender. So I'm going to guess that he gets the title shot at our next In Your House. The next one is called A Cold Day in Hell. So I assume that
I'm
Austin's
looking
going to
at
get
it
a
right
title shot.
now, and Austin. It's it's being advertised that Undertaker defends his WWE title to Austin. So
Oh, okay, so it is for, and that kind of makes sense with the name of the In Your House being A Cold Day in Hell. And by the way, we only got about 3 or 4 In Your Houses left, and then they're gone.
we got
So
one.
yeah,
Wait,
we're
wait,
getting
wait.
real close to the end. The most famous one left would be Bad Blood, and that's the one where
One,
we're going to see
two,
our
three, four, five. Five in your
five. Yeah,
houses.
yeah. Bad Blood's where we're going to see our first Hell in the Cell match. So we're getting
Yeah.
close to that one. But yeah, these are almost over. So, but
And
still a good.
I'm looking forward to doing some of these promo art because we
Oh
haven't
yeah,
had any cool promo art on the last couple in your houses.
yeah, yeah.
But,
Definitely not. Well, you remember when we first started the In Your Houses, we were just doing like the black background and making up
yeah,
whatever went along with the theme. So
right.
they've come along, that's for sure.
Well, Cold Day of
So
Hell doesn't have one on here, but then Canadian Stampedes after that, and
yeah,
you get the Bret Hart and the Hart Foundation in front of the Maple Leaf, and then Ground Zero's really cool.
yeah,
You got that Stone Cold and the nuclear background. Bad Blood has the Undertaker holding Undertaker's head.
yeah. I think Taker's holding his own head. Yeah, yep, pretty sure.
Interesting. It's a weird one.
Why not, right? Hey, whatever.
And then Shawn Michaels on the Degeneration, the next one.
Yeah, yeah. So overall, it's a good main event. It was still hard hitting between these two. Austin was definitely selling the knee well. There was a point where Austin had a sharpshooter on Brett and should have won, but the ref took a bump. And while the ref was down, of course, that's when Brett proceeded to just beat the piss out of Stone Cold's knee with a chair because he's a heel, eh? That's what he has to do. That's what he has to do. And there was even a point when Owen and Bulldog came out, Austin still fought them off. So you thought for a minute he was going to get the win, which he did get the win, but he ends up winning this match by a disqualification. because the Heart Foundation can't mind their own business. So,
Well, that's kind of stupid on the Hart Foundation. I mean, they wanted Brett to go for the title, right?
right,
They just interfered and screwed Brett.
kind of, yeah. Like you would have thought they would have tried to do like a sneaky interference instead of just, yeah, we're gonna end this and forget your title shot, Brett. It's fine. You don't need that title shot, do you? Uh,
This
yeah, you're right. Kind of backfired on him.
kinda is not the word. Did
Yeah,
backfire on them.
I'm sure
That's
Brett
gonna
will
be
yell at
fun.
him in the locker room. It'll be fine. He'll give him a stern talking to, hey boys.
They're Canadian, so they're friendly. You kind
They'll
of
just
messed me up. What was that about?
the boot. They'll go in the back and do some shots of maple syrup, and they'll be fine. That's what they do in Canada. They just shoot the maple
Not
syrup.
not cool, friend.
Not cool, and it makes everything better. It's fine.
I don't like it,
Uh,
buddy.
so based on, I mean, it's still a good match based on the match before this and the match that they had, previously. I'm still going to rank this pretty high. I mean, I'm going to give this 4 Stone Cold Stunners, even though we didn't get to see one, unfortunately.
I'm gonna give this also for Brett screwed Brett.
Brett screwed Brett. Man, I wish that's a shirt I wish I could find so I could show now that we're on videos. I have that Earl Hebner t-shirt that says Brett didn't screw Brett, I did. I have I have that somewhere. It's even autographed by Earl. That'd be cool to find. It's packed away somewhere. But
Somewhere.
all right, well, good main event. And definitely overall a good in your house. And I think when we go to pick matches, one of them is going to be really hard to pick. And I
Yeah,
don't think
I
I'm
don't.
talking about match of the night either.
No, I think there's a clear cut winner on that one.
Yeah, but the other one, oof, gonna be rough,
All right,
eh?
are we ready to do that then?
We are ready.
Favorite match of the night.
Okay, so Matt, we're good, right?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, it's fine. They can deal with our technical difficulties at first. All right, so favorite match of the night. This is the easy one, hands down. Undertaker versus Mankind for the WWE Championship.
Yeah, it's not really much of a question, is it? It's definitely
No, yeah, this one
Undertaker
was easy. I
versus
mean,
Mankind,
it
easily.
was our highest ranked one. Yeah, easy peasy. The next one, not so much.
Yeah, the next one's gonna be hard. The next one's gonna be
Yeah.
hard.
All right, so I don't know. Have we ever not
Worst
had a worst match of the
match
night? Like, how does that?
of the night.
I mean, I don't know if this has ever happened. You know what I mean? Like, so we always do this. So since we always do it and we pick one, I'm just gonna and I think I ranked all the matches before the last two the same. But if I have to pick one, I'm just gonna go with Road Dogg versus Rockabilly, and it's not because any of the matches were bad, but that was probably the only one that didn't have as much of a story to it as the other ones. So that's all I'm really basing it on because they were all good matches. So I'm gonna pick with that logic.
See, I was going that route, and that is actually my worst ranked match of the night because I didn't go with the same as you. I ranked this at 2.5, if I
Yeah,
remember correctly.
that was your lowest ranked one. So, and
And it
again, none of them were
was
bad.
none of them were bad, and I'm not saying this was a bad match either. In fact, it was a decent match. Just
Yeah,
when you have a whole strong card,
yep. And you got to pick one, and you
yep,
either go with your lowest ranking, or like I said, I just went with it because it didn't have as strong as a story as the other matches would be the only reason. So,
yep,
yeah,
that's fair too.
for sure.
And I'm kind of
All right.
surprised Road Dogg is not feuding with Jesse James, or not Jesse James, but Jeff
Just,
Jarrett. He's going with the other musical person
yeah,
who brought out
yeah.
Rockabilly, another musical
Rockabilly,
character.
Rockabilly, everybody's favorite.
That's weird. All right, are we ready to rank?
We are ready to rank. Let's do it.
In your house rankings.
Oh, I'm just going in. All right, so my bad. Technical difficulties. All right, so here we go. In your house rankings, and of course, I've jumped on the bandwagon. I go from worst to first. So we are now on 14. We have 14 in your houses. And at 14, I have in your house 13. At 13, I have in your house 4. At 12, I have in your house 3. At 11, I have in your house 2. Number 10, I have the original in your house. At 9, I have in your house 12. 8, I have in your house 9. At 7, I have in your house 8. 6 is in your house 6. 5 is in your house 7. At 4, I have 11. At 3, I have in your house 10. And now at number 2 is in your house 5. And I have a new number 1, and that is this one, in your house 14. Finally taken over the top spot. And really, it's because this entire card was good. And 5 I based on just that amazing main event. So my new number 1 is this one, in your house 14.
Yeah, I understand, and I have in your house 4 at 14, 13 at 13, 3 at 12, 12 at 11, in your house 8 at 10, 1 at 9, 2 at 8, 9 at 7, in your house 7 at 6, in your house 10 at 5, in your house 11 at 4, in your house 6 at 3, in your house 5 at 2, and I am 100% agree with you. In your house 14 is the best one, and like you said, exactly what you said.
Yeah,
Um,
overall card, just a very
well,
solid card.
this had an amazing match and an amazing main event, and the most amazing match wasn't the main event, and the rest of the matches were all pretty stellar.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
wasn't
definitely
a
the
rough
most.
match in this card, so this is by far the best. I'd like to go through and see if anybody else is ranked in your houses, and see if
Right?
they agree with us on that. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
14
but
is definitely the best one.
definitely overall the strongest in your house for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%.
All right. Well, we picked some matches. We watched a pay-per-view. We ranked the in your houses. Now it's time to plug some pluggables.
Plug some pluggables. Well,
We
you
love
can
to plug
find me
pluggables.
right. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Dragon Blazer Productions, and you can find me at Dragon Blazer Pro on Twitter. You can also find me on the TikToks at Dragon Blazer Productions.
TikToks. Of course, you can join us on our Facebook page, The Boomer and Blaze Show. You can follow the show at Boomer_Blaze on the Twitter and the Instas, and at Boomer and Blaze Show on the TikTok. Plus, this guy's still hard at work on all the YouTubing, the YouTubes. He's hard at work at that stuff.
YouTube's.
Very easy to find on the YouTubes. If you just start searching us instead of trying to spell the whole thing out like we'll pop up. You just start typing in the Boomer and Blaze Show, you'll find it. It's I promise you don't have to type it all in. I promise you.
No.
All right, well we did it. We made it through our first live video show, and we'll get better as we go along with a little less glitches, and maybe there'll be some more cool stuff next time instead of just, I'm still in the process of
Maybe.
moving. I'll have on a shirt. I can show off some collectibles and stuff. We'll get to that for sure. For sure. It's going to get better as we go. But I think we did all right. We survived and we made it through. You were quick on your feet and was doing, this guy was popping graphics up during the show. That's how fast he is. I'm still new to the photoshopping and stuff. I'm trying. I'm getting there. I've done some things. I'm working on it. I'm a protege. There's no way I could have whipped him up as quick as you did, though. You were doing it during the show. It's good stuff. Good
You're
stuff. He's a hard working man. All
hard
right.
work.
Hi. All right, well, we did it, and I look forward to next week. And we can actually say now that we will see you next week. See? We can actually say that because you see us. Huh? You like that, right?
Yeah.
But until then, this has been the Boomer and Blaze show. I am Boomer.
And I'm Blaze.
And good night from Dragon Blazer Studios.
Which, I don't know if you noticed, but I even called this Dragon Blazer
I did.
Studios.
I did notice.
Those.
Hey everyone, this is Blaze from the Raging Blaze and the Boomer and Blaze show. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more wrestling content.